Destination Mark.
Hey guys, how's it going? Marcelo here, and welcome to 1-1, a new show where we look back at the first level of some iconic games and break down what makes them great and not so great. Today we're going to start with, well, if you know me and my channel, you definitely saw this coming, Sanity Beach from the original Crash 1. For anyone who may not know, this was the first game I ever played, and to me, this is one of the greatest levels to ever be constructed for a 3D platformer. Back in the mid-90s, 3D games like this were very much in their infancy, so while Mario quickly figured out how to move a character around in a wide-open 3D space, Crash opted instead to adapt the snappy directional movements of a 2D side-scroller into a 3D space. And as far as introductory levels go, I think Sanity Beach most definitely holds up well today, if Insane's anything to go by. Alright, let's start breaking this level down. We begin with Crash getting up from being washed ashore after his fall from the window of Cortex's castle. This immediate first screen gives us an idea of what the movement's going to be like in this game. Naughty Dog wanted to utilize all 6 directions for platforming and designed a way to properly introduce each one to the player. If this was your first 3D game, then you have nowhere to go but forward, and this shot captures that fantastically. I talked about mise-en-scène back in my game chat video about Insane, and that principle applies here too. Naughty Dog were the OGs at it. And speaking of what's in front of you, we're introduced to 2 crate types. A question mark crate, which you'll discover can hold either extra lives or lump of fruit, and a bouncy crate, which will reward you with 1 fruit per bounce for a total of 10 fruit, but spinning them gives you nothing, introducing the concept of unique crate interactions. This will come back into play in level 2, Jungle Rollers, when you're first introduced to the TNT crate. But back to Insanity Beach, you start moving forward and are greeted next with a crab enemy and a bottomless pit. The crab can be dispatched with either action, and the pit can easily be jumped over. However, it's quite common to miss the initial attack on the crab, which is why you're given the 1-up right off the bat. You can still gain and lose lives like in a 2D game. Then you'll come across a box with a funky looking mask on it. Breaking this open will free Aku Aku, your protector who will shield you from 1 attack, and comes with a catchy sound effect when you collect them. However, the first obstacle you're pitted against after getting Aku is a pit, so if you fall into that, you'll learn he can't protect you against hazards, only enemies. We get introduced to the arrow crate, which will bounce you in the air and not break when jumped on enough times like the bouncy crate, and then we're tasked with a challenge. Defeat these crabs and make it across the pits while trying to hold on to Aku Aku. Now if you spun the very first crab in the level, you'll notice you can send them flying, complete with a ricochet sound. So here you think it'd be pretty funny and skillful if you can line them up and see what happens. And thankfully that thought pays off, as you see you can combo enemies into one another, and even break some crates while you're at it. You get through all of that while holding onto your mask, and now we're heading up some steps. You see another Aku Aku crate, and wonder what happens if you collect 2 of them, and when you do, you see that he's changed color. Aku can now take 2 hits for you, but it doesn't stop there. You make it up the stairs, collecting fruits and extra lives while you do so, and as the scenery and music change, this is the only time in the game that the music dynamically changes to fit the new area, as you explore deep into the jungle, you find a 3rd Aku Aku crate at the top, along with a checkpoint crate that'll spawn you back here if you die again. We're halfway through the level now, and upon busting the Aku crate open, you suddenly leap into the air and start glowing. Your speed is faster, and you can now defeat enemies just by touching them. You are invincible. Now, here's where the game puts a very daunting task in front of you, but it is okay if you end up screwing anything up. This is where the game allows you to learn and grow. I'm going to break this following part down into 2 scenarios. One where you make it this far and become invincible, and one where you don't. If you are invincible, you can mow your way through these turtles and crates, getting introduced to crate placements that can be a little sneaky and one of a few crate walls found throughout the game. It's just satisfying busting through a bunch of them with invincibility or a few spins, and then you come to a fork in the road. If you make a split-second decision to go down the left path, you're met with a few more crates and turtles, and then you hop over the funnel pit and end the level. But if you go down the right path, you're met with quite a sight. A giant pit with a metal exclamation crate placed to the side and a single row of outline crates. Hitting the exclamation crate introduces you to the concept of crate triggers, but don't be so hasty to continue running. The crates don't fill in immediately, they do so one by one. And this single factor has killed so many players, and they can never understand the timing, so allow me to help with that. If you still have enough time left in your invincibility, which you can keep track of once you hear this part of the music, then it's okay to wait for all the crates to fill in, as you can still just barely make it across the crate line and the invincibility will break all the crates for you. It is a bit delayed since the invincibility's hit detection for this specific part is programmed behind Crash, so that way you don't just fall through the crates and die. That or these specific crates were programmed to respond late to an invincibility break, so the same result wouldn't happen. But if you don't understand all the technical game design jargon, then just focus on running along the line and the crates will break. Maybe you'll have to jump on a crate or two if you don't make it fully across with the invincibility, But that's okay. You did it. After that, you can tiptoe through the left path and cautiously get rid of the turtles and break the crates. Even if you run into the turtles, you've got 2 masks to protect you, so you'll be fine. Now for the other scenario. If you make it to the top and you have a mask or 2 on you, you'll have to play the level straight. Keep dispatching enemies and break crates with your jumper spin. Now these turtles have unique property. Jumping on them will cause them to flip over and retreat into their shell, and if you jump on the shell again, you can bounce on it. This won't come into play just yet, so you'll be fine if you don't figure this out right away. There's always that previous scenario where you just bowled right through them with invincibility, so consider yourself well educated for levels and platforming challenges to come. After getting through all that and looking out for, again, those sneaky crates, you'll then come across the fork. If you look down the right side and decide, nope, then you can go down the left path, and as we discussed, it isn't very tough. Just take out the 2 turtles and break those crates and you're good. But if you do that and are still curious about that right path, then you can come back down the left way and go try out the other way. You'll hit that exclamation crate and see those boxes fill in, and now, you guessed it, it's time to jump on them. This is where the player gets to learn just how Crash's jump works. Here you'll have to precisely pick off these crates while moving up inch by inch, making sure to stay on top of it, literally, and not fall into the pit. And before you know it, you've done it! Just smack the last turtle here, and carefully go down the left path if you were brave enough to come here first, and just like that, you've beaten Sanity Beach. There you have it, folks. This first level sets the tone for the rest of Crash 1. It starts off easy enough to get into and has a lot to teach you, but also provides some challenges here and there that you can take on if you want to, and will have to if you want to go for 100%. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this episode and want to see more, let me know in the comments below and by spinning into that subscribe button, as well as jumping on the notification bell to stay in the loop for when more Crash content comes out. Until next time, I'm Mark, and take care.